Target damaged. Target destroyed.
The United States and Israel has announced a war, massive military strikes by the United States and Israel intended to end Iran's nuclear program, their ballistic missile capabilities, and critically, an effort to bring about regime change with the leadership of the country, including the supreme leader, directly targeted by military strikes. Another thing that I think is important to say here is that this is very much a U.S. unilateral effort, again, with the Israelis, yes, but over the course of the past months, President Trump was taking his own counsel on this issue. It's been debated inside his administration. Those that opposed it and the Joint Chiefs and others were removed from the conversation. And American allies were not asked particular opinions about how they thought about it. The Europeans and others were not consulted. They certainly weren't asked to join in, as we've seen in previous wars of choice of regime change in Iraq and Afghanistan. Those were very much coalitions of the willing. This is the United States with Israel. Also, there was no real credible support of Iran whatsoever. The Russians, of course, have been quite aligned with Iran. They've gotten a lot of capabilities for their own war in Ukraine, which they're now, the Shahed missiles, for example, which they're now capable of building themselves inside Russia. But that was a big piece of support that Iran got. The United States cannot just act with impunity. Militarily, the Americans can. And whether you support these strikes or you oppose them, it's important to recognize that U.S. military power is largely unchecked globally. The Chinese have capabilities in their own backyard, particularly Taiwan, the South China Sea. The Russians have some capabilities, less than they'd like, in Ukraine. But globally, there's no one remotely close to the United States. Yes, by the way, that plays out with the Anthropic discussions that have occurred over the last 12 of 24 hours, which have now come off the headlines, given what's happened in Iran. But the United States is a uniquely powerful global actor militarily, and now has a president who feels pretty unconstrained in using that military directly for political outcomes of his choosing. And that clearly can cause a lot of disruption. In Venezuela, it's been very successful, but the goals were much more limited and not regime change. Here, the goals are much broader, and it's not in America's backyard, and there's a lot more potential for instability as a consequence.
Dedim buraya vuracak. מאמין, הוא נפל 200 מטר מהבית שלי. בשריפה על הגג ובסריקה במבנה עד כאן.